It says you're live. That means I'm here. Okay. Uh, I'll leave the little microphone headset going until you are gone. Or okay, yeah. Got Casno here with me. Not streaming any longer. I'm live. We're gonna be doing the contents of the Grand Library today. It's very exciting. Got more than a stack of books. Actually, more than a stack. It says +5, so I guess that's a bit more. I guess it doesn't count. That's interesting how it's like a bundle holds a stack, but this has what looks like 16 books in it. Oh, okay. It's like Snow, for example. Okay. Better quality. That's cool. Okay. What should I start with? I'll do the full bundle first, and I'll get into the birth of Sherlock, SH, I'm assuming. Okay. What do we have here? All right. Sheephoof's beginnings. In the annals of Trapland's history, the tale of King Casno and the birth of Sheephoof Kingdom stands as a testament to friendship, valor, and the enduring bond between humans and animals. Casno's journey began as a close confidant of Fettuccine, the soon-to-be king of Proudmoore, and once Proudmoore was established at the heart of Trapland, Casno was granted a plot of land on the island directly north of Proudmoore. It was on this island that Casno encountered a vast population of sheep, peacefully grazing amidst rolling hills and lush meadows. However, the tranquility was shattered by a surge in monster invasions, which threatened both the sheep and the land of Trapland, deeply moved by the plight of the defenseless sheep. Casno made a solemn vow to protect them and their colony from the marauding forces. Taking a stand atop the island's highest peak, Casno and the sheep united against the relentless onslaught of monsters. Together they fought with unwavering determination and bravery, repelling the enemy forces in a resounding victory. The sheep, recognizing Casno's unwavering commitment and heroic leadership, hailed him as their king. In a moment of significance, Casno chose to commemorate their triumph and mark his ascendancy to kingship by erecting a castle around the very spot where a creeper blast had nearly claimed his life during the war. Thus, Sheephoof Castle rose above the island, a testament to courage and resilience. At its pinnacle stood King Casno, joined by his loyal companion, a sheep aptly named Sheep. Together they gazed upon the kingdom they had safeguarded, symbolizing the unbreakable bond between king and his flock. From that moment forward, Casno ruled over Sheephoof Kingdom, guided by the principles of unity, protection, and prosperity. The castle, built around the crater filled with lava, became a symbol of indomitable spirit of the kingdom and its dedication to safeguarding its inhabitants. The sheep, led by their beloved king, thrived under his benevolent rule, and Sheephoof flourished as a beacon of peace and harmony amidst the tumultuous world of Trapland. The tale of King Casno and the formation of Sheephoof Castle stands as a reminder of the profound connection between humans and animals, of friendship and sacrifice, and the resilience of a kingdom born out of a shared struggle. To this day, the legacy of Casno and Sheephoof continues to inspire and remind the people of Trapland of the extraordinary power of unity and compassion. And that is it for The Birth of Sheephoof. I now realize, written by Sherlock. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Casno wishes everybody to enjoy, and he's popping off. All right. Bye bye, buddy. See you. All right. And here we have more Sheephoof lore, penned by Casno himself. The Battle of Sheephoof Hills, 5 AG, after generation, I presume. Very early after generation, I was right, settler Casno 994 made his travels to this island after King of Proudmoore Fettuccine Alf gave information of Island Hills up north. Casno 994 arrived and saw the sheep inhabitants were struggling to fight against the great mob threat that plagued Trapland early on. Casno knew that helping the sheep would be beneficial later on. This scene depicts Casno 994 defending the sheep against hordes of mobs. After the fight, Casno realized the lava in this mountain could sustain a forge for thousands of years. Just like that, Sheephoof Forges rose up to be a powerful and courageous colony, standing side by side with the kingdom of Proudmoore to fight the ever-growing mob army. And that was Sheephoof Lore 1 by Casno. Next we have Trapland versus Ender Dragon by Author Unknown. Trapland versus the Ender Dragon. The five forces, read from the woods, Edge McVemerson, Fettuccine Alf, Casno, and Birdcage, swiftly took the fight against the Ender citizens straight to their home base. They opened a portal directly into their king's lair and went in bows blazing. The battle was over in mere minutes. We had won, not without injury, however. Nevertheless, the united forces of Trapland came out strong, wielding the head of the Ender Dragon. Another short one. And next, we have Obsidianorum by Inquisitor Zill. A new one for me. Don't think I've read it yet. Book of Resin, Chapter 1. The burning veil in the eternal darkness of the nether, where the fiery rivers flow with molten resin, a veil of secrets lies draped across the realm, woven with the very essence of the block universe. Within this ominous tapestry constructed of cubic fragments, the Lord of Resin, the ancient harbinger of shadows, breathes its eldritch essence. 2. Behold, the world of Trapland, born not of divine exaltation, but of cosmic tumult, where the flames of burning resin mark the path to enlightenment. Through the haze of darkness and the heat of forbidden knowledge, we, the faithful, seek communion with the boundless forces that shape the blocky realms. 3. Let it be known that the Lord of Resin, the aberrant deity whose very presence warps the fabric of reality, bestows upon us fragments of its arcane wisdom. It is through our devotion and sacrilegious rites that we shall mine the depths of these sacred blocks. 4. Embrace the resin, for it seeps into the roots of existence, corrupting and consuming all that it touches. We, the chosen disciples, shroud ourselves in the sacred blackness, liberated from the shackles of the mundane world. With every step we take, we tread upon the cooling coals of the nether, drawing strength from its malevolent power, like crafting with the most potent of materials. 5. In the depths of our rituals, we invoke the names of ancient beings, shapeless and writhing, whose whispers echo through the nether's abyss. Through their incomprehensible tongues, we unravel the secrets of dimensions unseen, deciphering the truths hidden within the blocky core of existence. 6. Beware, for the light of the false god's creation blinds the feeble-minded and obscures the path to true enlightenment. The resin offers a transcendent understanding, an embrace of the primordial chaos that flows beneath the pixelated veneer of order. 7. May chaos take the world. In the holy embrace of the cult of eternal resin, we proclaim our dominion over the world, seeking to unleash the dark tide that surges within us. By the tendrils of the Lord of Resin, we shall shape the very blocks of reality according to our desires, shattering the illusions of the weak and imposing our will upon the trembling masses. 8. Rejoice, for In the embrace of darkness, we find the truest form of liberation. Let the world tremble as the cult of eternal resin rises, adorned with the blocky visage of power and wreathed in the essence of the burning nether, heralding the arrival of a new age of the eternal stoned. And that was Obsidiorm by Inquisitor Zill. An interesting one. Rise Resin indeed. Next we have Philosophy Age by Headcage. Interesting. Oh, this is one of mine. Frio. Themes, ice, and saturation. The closer to the core of Cube we descend, the further from the sphere of influence we retreat. There are paths laid before the rectangular prism legs of the wanderers of X and Y. But why? It's too cold outside for angels to fly, but wraiths invade the nightmares of the fearful fodder of potential war. The instinct toward self-defense is a valiant one. Perseverance of self-transcendence is as respectable as any quality of individuality. Before Cage. And that was Philosophy Age by Headcage. Yeah. Ed Sheeran song definitely influenced. Epistle of John by the Chronicler. 1. In the dawn of Trapland, when our world was young and unformed, John arrived. Among the first settlers, John was a figure of promise. He staked his claim on an island, a territory ripe for grand designs and aspirations. Yet, John was no artisan. Where the great leaders of our land turned barren soil into kingdoms of glory, John barely carved a humble abode within the endless possibilities his island offered. The seeds of greatness bestowed upon him by the great artisan found no fertile ground in John. His potential, like bud unsmoked, remained unused. 2. Then, without honor or ceremony, John deserted. He left the island, his home, and his peers, abandoning the island he was meant to shape. He vanished like a puff of sacred smoke, leaving only whispers and the echo of unfulfilled potential. His island, once a blank canvas, now lies shrouded in creeping fungus, an insidious force that morphed the landscape into a reflection of John's own failures. The lone surviving structure of John's era, a small home, stands as a monument of wasted potential, a sad relic amidst the ever-growing fungus. 3. John the Deserter's tale is a mirror held up to us all, a reflection of the choices we make and the actions we take in our world. To the inhabitants of Trapland, his tale underscores a vital creed. To exist is to participate, to shape our world, to cherish our sacred rituals, and to respect our shared destiny. To desert is to reject the gift of the great artisan, to extinguish the blocky light within us, to fade away without leaving any meaningful mark. Remember, John the Deserter, let his story guide your actions. Do not merely exist, but live, build, shape, share, and above all, remain true to the spirit of Trapland. For we are the miners and the crafters. In our hands, the world thrives. In our hearts, the spirit of Trapland blazes bright. Let us not forget. Let us not desert. That was the Epistle of John by the Chronicler. And next we have Book of Barry, the Beekeeper. Rather, Book of Barry by the Beekeeper. 1. In the time before bees adorned our skies, and when no hives nestled in the trees, a miracle happened. A hive teeming with life appeared in a remote corner of the world. This moment sparked a new dawn, beginning the era of bees. 2. Upon the hive's discovery by Fettuccini, two brave adventurers, Edge and Casno, embarked on a perilous quest. They navigated uncharted terrains, confronted lurking dangers, and persevered through countless trials to reach the hidden hive. Their triumphant return with the precious bees stirred jubilation across the world, their journey forever etched in our shared history. 3. From the resident bees, a miracle emerged, a bee unlike any that came before. Barry, his buzz, was a melody of purity, his flight a dance of authenticity. He graced our skies and hearts, becoming more than just a bee. Barry embodied a new epoch of untainted, I presume, nature and genuine existence in our realm. 4. Barry, the tireless worker, spread life across our fields, yielding the world's sweetest rewards. The path of his flight served as our guide, his soft buzz a hymn of harmony and diligence. 5. A day arrived when the melody of Barry's buzz abruptly ceased. His disappearance left a void in our hearts and our skies. We mourn, remember, and draw strength from his teachings and courage from his memory. 6. The whispers of the wind tell a prophecy. Barry shall return from the sacred hive. He will emerge, no longer just a bee, but a beacon of unity, resilience, and spirit. As we live, build, and thrive, we yearn for the day when our skies hum with Barry's return, marking a renewed era of unity and authenticity. As we wait, we honor his memory by living in harmony with the wisdom of his flight. May this testament guide us in our journey, echoing the hum of Barry in our hearts. And that was the Book of Barry by the Beekeeper. Next, we have Changing Sands by Undocumented, but not unenumerated, apparently. Recovered History of Blockistan, Volume 1. Unknown. It is said the Great Library existed long before time itself. The vast knowledge contained within has guided our people for generations, and surely will for generations more. An unknown traveler presented a strange gift to the library, an indestructible stone, black as undead soul. We credit this traveler with an incredible discovery. The forces of Blockistan prepared to mobilize, unaware what terrors await them. After 8 days, our warriors returned, beaten and broken. Bunch of pound signs or hashtags indicating censorship. Leader Chadmethius appears to have lost his mind. Questioning of the soldiers later revealed they discovered some sort of ancient tomb in the hellish place. The soldiers claimed the tomb spoke to them in whispers. Chadmethius ordered the tomb be brought directly to him. The soldiers dutifully obeyed. As Chadmethius read the tomb, it began to grow unbearably hot, igniting a bright blue flame. The tomb quickly burned to ashes as Chadmethius fell to strange stone flooring. To the strange stone flooring of the hell-bound structure. He states the tomb's knowledge lives deep within his mind. It speaks to him. Little time passed before Chadmethius was revered as a being of uncanny knowledge. The Sultan Chadmethius told of a great power that would come at a terrible price. The quest insurmountable, but no task is too great for the wrath of Blockistan. Chadmethius commanded all the might of Blockistan, through the great portal, ordered not to return without the heads of 12 wither skeletons. At the time, his motives were questioned by some, although time makes fools of us all. Never doubt Chadmethius. That was Changing Sands by Undocumented. That did sound sick. Prosperity Ends, also by Undocumented. Recovered History of Blockistan, Volume 2. Unknown. 12 heads of the most foul beast any man had ever slain, now in possession of Blockistan's archives. Sultan Chadmethius ordered the head be brought directly to him. At the stroke of high noon, 4 golden beams of light rose from the library of Blockistan into the scorching desert sun. In an instant, the desert was flooded with lush blue plant life, giant mushrooms, and bountiful crops. Blockistan shall prosper. With this strange new life, great magic began to bind itself to books in the grand library. Powerful enchantments were soon mastered by the talented librarians of Blockistan. Vast fields of crops appear where once lay barren sands. Travelers from the far corners of Trapland adventure for thousands of blocks simply to obtain the power of the enchanted tomes. Great wealth was soon bestowed to the people of Blockistan with full bellies and warm beds. All was well. Unbeknownst to the people of Blockistan, their sultan had used a dark magic to obtain the golden beacons that blessed our lands. The sultan could not have known the withers would return for their souls trapped within the beacons of the Blockistan library. A black sun rose over the blue grass of lush Blockistan, striking confusion and fear in the hearts of our people. 4 great terrors, embodiments of destruction itself, rose into the blackened sky. No such beast, nah deity, should exist. The people called for Sultan to defend them from this living nightmare, but decades of peace had passed, and the Sultan had grown weak. And that was the end of Prosperity Ends by Undocumented. The First Wither by Royal Press. The first appearance of the Wither happened upon an unprepared trapland. Happened upon. Sheephoof engineers had labored for some time to manifest the being into this world. The great nations across the sea had known all along what the fruit of this labor would become. On the eve of battle, men from each great nation gathered in remote North Trapland to prepare. Blockistani defenses were erected, Proudmoore blades sharpened. Sheephoof clerics whet their arrows as Heartland and Cage auxiliary units took position. The sun blotted from the sky as the unholy altar was completed. A blinding flash and booming explosion erupted with the Wither's ascent to the skies. After moments of battle, surrounding Earth was upturned in every direction. The proud Blockistani fortress had not kept through the first phase of battle. Demonic entities whistled through the air before landing and exploding on their trapland targets. Earth collapsed underneath the kings of both Proudmoore and Sheephoof. Their compatriots bravely followed into the abyss below, where a significant portion of the battle followed. As tides turned, the monster had taken lives of most Heartland and Cage forces. Strewn remains of earth and men littered the battlefield. Briefly, it seemed the battle would be lost, as the vast debris of earth and sheer power of the Wither's attacks seemed to have an effect of the very fabric, on the very fabric of the world. Trapland prevailed steadfast. The Wither would be defeated, even at great cost. Sultan McNemerson of Blockistan delivered the final strike to the aberration. The wrath of Blockistan and Trapland would end the battle. From its smoldering remains, a nether star was recovered. This now proudly sits atop the royal palace of Proudmoore. Turned from darkness to light, this beacon serves now as a symbol of hope to the people of Trapland and a show of strength to their enemies. The First Wither by Royal Press. And we have My Story by The Prophet. Sand. It was the first thing I found as I awoke on an island in the middle of the ocean. There were some folks on the island who taught me about their lands and showed me their homes as I prepared myself to begin my journey to find my own land to call home. I whipped up a shadu boat and began sailing due north. As I sailed, I happened to spot a light peeking beneath the water. I wondered as to what kind of treasures could lie below the water's surface, but at this time, I was ill prepared for such a deadly dive. It had only been on the night before. It had only been on the night before. I found myself in dark waters. Around me were mushrooms that stood taller than any man, and vines that coiled like snakes around every branch and tree. This place was beautiful in its own way, but not what I was looking for. Eastward, I traveled only a short distance and above a sprawling reef before I found the place I would soon call my homeland. As my boat crashed ashore on a grassy peninsula, I used my shovel to mark my first steps on this, the Heartlands. As I traveled inland, I found myself dumbfounded, only a quick jaunt down the coastline as my eyes laid upon the rolling hills and peaks, creating a natural bowl to conserve and protect a quiet savanna, a land that had been seen only once before by King Fettuccine. As I set up my first shelter, more of a shack, I quickly began digging to gather resources and expand my inventory to prepare for more treacherous deeds. It was only a week after I had first moved to these lands and built my first home that I met them. People. They had lived in these sacred lands for as long as the mountains around them, and I had invaded their homes. They had seen others before come and go, but none had decided to stay until me. They watched me treat their home with respect and love. When they approached me, I was taken aback at first, truly. Who wouldn't be? This was exactly what I had been wishing for since I first found myself waking up in this strange, blocky land. They could speak only in low grunts and tones. Good enough for me. Why could I possibly have any need for some indigenous peoples? Some would ask. Well, it's quite simple, really. They're a bunch of suckers. They believe anything I told them of the world that they had never seen. If I had said the sky was falling, they would run. And so, with their help, I tamed these lands. I laid down foundation and built myself a solid home and farm. It was later on that I would use information provided by redacted kings of my brotherly lands to craft a dark portal to a strange, dangerous land. My Story, that was by The Prophet. Next we have To King Fettuccine Alf by Castno of Sheephoof. A letter. King Fettuccine Alf of Proudmoore, I send you this message with great urgency. I was tending to the duties of the city when multiple villager reports claimed a shady individual emerged from Slabport City's nether portal and started making their way to the Savannah Plateau southwest of the city. I ran to my docks and ascended through the air on my elytra, heading straight for the island. As I got in the air, something began to happen. I witnessed a large castle sprout from within the mountain. Out of nothing, it took mere seconds, but all of a sudden, we have a new building considered to be the largest in our world. I was taken aback as soon as I observed this event. I thought about turning back for backup in case turning back or backing up, I guess, in case something goes wrong. I thought about alerting you and the other factions for support, but instead I rushed forward, worried what could appear next had I left this alone any longer. As I got close, I saw who could only be the shady figure I heard in my reports. I immediately landed before them and demanded they explain what is happening. He said his name is Dominus, and he is a refugee from the Nether. He was escaping a piglin battalion and stumbled upon Slabport's portal. Learning his magic worked in the overworld, he decided to set up a refuge here. I explained this takes our world by some surprise. I wasn't looked to push much further. Can't parse that one. I was unprepared and could have possibly been overpowered had I pushed the wrong buttons. Our conversation didn't go much further, but it is in our best interest that we do some investigating on this new entity. He seems to have power, the likes of which is unknown to us in Trapland. We must proceed with caution. King Casno of Sheephoof. That was to King Fettuccine Alfredo by Casno of Sheephoof. Next, we have Nether Discovery by Al or Ale Sherblock. There seems to be some form of evolutionary reaction happening in the Nether. I am unsure what caused this, but zombie piglins are starting to grow much more lively from the new adaptation. They don't even look zombified anymore. They seem to have grown into a new species. I suppose since I am the one who discovered them, maybe I should come up with the name. To everyone reading this book, from this point on, I, Traveler Al or Ale Sherblock, named this new species piglins. But if you think the piglins are the new and odd thing about the Nether, think again. New biomes such as the Soul Sand Valley, the Crimson and Warped Forests, and much more. The Nether is a much different place than it used to be. But at least I still have the trusty railways, made by none other than the King of Proudmoore, Fettuccine Alfredo. I will continue to log my findings as I go. Your dear friend, Traveler Sherblock. Next, we have Sheephoof Lore 2 by author unknown. The sequel to the second book that I have read here today. King in Sheep's Clothing, 10 AD. After stopping the immediate mob threat on the island and before the construction of the forge, Casno and the sheep decided to unify to enhance their defenses together. Although Casno is responsible for the construction and augmentation of the island, the sheep played a massive role in making sure the defenses of the island stayed strong. Rumor has it that Casno and the sheep collaborated in a secret offensive measure to combat the mobs in case their army became too powerful. But with lack of evidence, this remains a mystery. The sheep look to Casno as their leader and are very generous to him and allies with their wool. Sheephoof Lore 2 by author unknown. And next we have Vestiges of Cage by Between Cage. It was one of mine. Oh yeah, this is a long one. Before the cage came the chains. You think I could do it without interruption? Before the cage came the chains. Before the pain came the havens. However, far too soon did the faith of sharp edges reach a terminal point of punctuality. They punctured, like the trident of doubt, our bleak foretelling of fate. Therefore, our souls were birthed from the black stone into the empty torchlight block suspended within the air. The portals took us where we wanted, but our feet were forced to carry us there. Two bridges on one through line, a robust currency of weight. The ancients of the finality of decay and growth spiraled toward a purgatory that was nameless, but not shapeless. The city grew in a fashion that was devoid of scrutiny and shame. No grace, only blocks. The masons of the curve were unable to perfect, but strive they did. The soft soil and softer stone beneath gave way to a bountiful framework of expression. There were no blocks of hate, there were no blocks of praise. From the mouths of time, the binary puppeteers of lit and lame lamented the loss of their tyranny. There was no more control to lack or gain. There were no tangible spheres, but the great effects of their presence shone on our blocky skin with warmth. 3 blocks wide, 3 blocks long, 3 blocks deep. 2 blocks tall, 1 block wide, 0 blocks wasted. A block made, B block bound, C block seen. The color and the shape, they're bound by certain shakes. What falls onto the plate didn't grow from poor souls' breaks. Hidden in the tapes, adhesives track the weights. Across dreamscapes, they make their ways aren't held in place. That was like the prologue, I guess. Chapter 1, Fate, Fable, and Fortune. After a spiritual excursion into the 4D world of dreams and wakefulness, my blocky body was once again inhabited. I assumed I was pushed around because that's how it felt upon the rekindling of my blockiousness. But no. With blocky appendage of shoulder cuff on the J of K and the blocky appendage of elbow nerve on the F of D, I felt habit bend me. Chapter 2. 20,000 by 20,000. The first 10,000. The cage 2 was the simple facsimile of the original cage. There was less difficulty traversing vertically to reach the top. Now with a nether portal, there's an inverse funnel of pimps on the other side of the veil. There's a jungle path cleared toward the body of water, separating the 3 villages of sand, land, and cherry. There's a road, a floating gazebo, and a flying riptide of height. Chapter 3. The second 10,000. The cage as well was a mini version of the plane itself. The 4 pillars rising above the red sand hinted toward the relatively nearby larger 4 pillars. There were 3 more nearby villages. The first is the home of a sand-faring tribe discovered before the small pillars were even founded. In the nearby body of water was the finally built 4th large pillar. The first large pillar was within a second village. The second large pillar was on the outskirts of a third. Chapter 4. The third 10,000. The recage opened upon the tree-clad slope near an open lake with multiple tributaries. The trees, calling out for mercy, led to the tunnel's opening being marked by smooth stone upon the ground, sparing the trees of their potential culling. The nearest entrance to the lake held great potential for a dock of bronze. The potential was filled with a 2-story structure bridging the height gap between the water and the cliffs. Chapter 5. The fourth and final 10,000. The coast The reverse cage called home was leveled out by filling in the coastline with diorite. Further into the harbor was a pair of skulk stair steps that supported the branching wing structure, also skulk. The nearby forest was cut through to lead toward the nearby dungeon village at the foot of a picturesque mountain. Along the path was built a quaint little forge. Chapter 6. Each of the 10,000 block long tunnels had their monotony cut by the final blocks along the path. The first was a simple stair step structure that got wider as the y axis passed the 0 mark. The third moved in a sidewinder, curvy path that nonetheless progressed consistently, like the first. The fourth had 10 block apart chambers of varying widths. Whoops, close the book. My bad. I closed the book, my bad, because it was actually the last page. Maybe not my bad. All right. That was the vestiges of Cage, but by between Cage. Okay, next we have Northshire by the Chronicler. Thank you, Skadoosh. Northshire by the Chronicler. A brief history of Northshire. Northshire was the first settlement of the Kingdom of Proudmoore outside its home archipelago. Established in 2019, it quickly became a key outpost for the kingdom's northern expansion. Though small and isolated, Northshire holds a unique legal status, granted ancient rights and autonomy rarely seen in other provinces. The people of Northshire practice orthodoxy, however. Orthodoxy on the island retains a deeply insular quality. House O'Brien keeps the faith alive, blending the Orthodox creed with the traditions of the island, preserving both the soul of the land and the people. The O'Neill clan has ruled Northshire as the king's appointed lords for generations, and they act as intermediaries between the islanders and the crown. Though officially, the Duke O'Neill is entrusted with maintaining peace and overseeing the island's affairs, House O'Neill's governance has grown increasingly problematic in recent times. While few openly acknowledge it, there are rumors about the current Duke's handling of royal tithes and local taxes. The Duke's manor, positioned above the humble town, is often seen as a symbol of his growing isolation and self-interest. However, such observations are rarely found in official histories, which paint the Duke as a local servant of the crown. Once, King Alfredo was more directly involved in Northshire's affairs, ensuring the island was well maintained and under protection. During his visits, the relationship between the families was more balanced, and the town thrived under the king's watchful eye. However, as the kingdom expanded further and Alfredo's attention was drawn elsewhere, Duke O'Neill consolidated his position. Without the king's direct oversight, House O'Neill's ambitions grew unchecked, leading to the exploitation and mistreatment of the islanders. The O'Neills maintain their grip on the land, all while giving a facade of loyalty to King Alfredo. Once of great importance, Northshire has become an overgrown rural backwater. The people are few and the land grows wild, yet their faith and resilience endure. Though the Duke's corruption lingers, the islanders remain bound by their ancient customs and faith, standing quietly against the shadows cast by the manor above them. That was Northshire, penned by the Chronicler. And that's also all out of the first bundle given to me by King Casno. So I am going to put those back in that bundle, and we have just 5 books left. So next we have St. Ungor Farms by Al Sherblock. St. Ungor Farms, a cherished land by Traveler Sherblock. In all my travels in Trapland, very few places charmed me quite like St. Ungor Farms. I was blessed to get the opportunity to visit this land and their people, since I was on good footing with their king. This book tells their story, as I am the first to write it on paper. It's the least I could offer for not only these people and their legacy, but for the world of Trapland as a gift for granting me life. I could not let this history go forgotten. This is the story of St. Ungor Farms. In the mystical realm of Trapland, there once thrived a village known as Testificate Village. Timelessly, it embodied the virtues of longevity, community, and selflessness, nurturing generations with its unwavering spirit. However, it was a pivotal moment when the village was graced by the legendary protector, St. Ungor, that its destiny changed forever. After his valiant defense of Sheepov Island, Testificate Village was renamed St. Ungor Farms, a testament to the selfless guardian who exemplified the village's core values. St. Ungor Farms was a that placed great importance on longevity. The wisdom and experiences of the elderly were cherished. Not foraging, excuse me, a bond between generations. Each story held a lesson learned, passing down a rich tapestry of history that shaped the village's identity. The elderly were honored and revered, their presence a cherished reminder of the enduring spirit that flowed through the village's veins. Community thrived at the heart of St. Ungor Farms, nurturing a sense of unity among its inhabitants. From joyous communal gatherings to vibrant harvest festivals, the village celebrated togetherness. The villagers supported and uplifted one another, embracing the value of interconnectedness. Neighbor aided neighbor, creating a sanctuary of belonging and compassion that made St. Ungor Farms a beacon of love. Selflessness was the guiding force that propelled St. Ungor Farms towards greatness. Inspired by the saint's example, villagers embraced the notion of putting others before themselves. Acts of kindness and generosity were woven into the fabric of everyday life. Sharing bountiful harvests and extending helping hands to those in need became second nature, igniting a culture of empathy and sacrifice. Excuse my alarm, please. Let me double check and make sure. Okay, yeah. Igniting a culture of empathy and sacrifice that permeated the village. Through the annals of time, St. Ungor Farms stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of Trapland. It welcomed wanderers who sought solace in its radiant embrace, drawn to its tales of unity and the legendary protector who shaped its destiny. The village's rebirth as St. Ungor Farms paid homage to a guardian who embodied the essence of longevity, community, and selflessness, forever etching his name in the hearts of its inhabitants. Traveler Sherblock. And Al Sherblock was the author of St. Ungor Farms. That book. Also, we have The Wither, a different account, right? In the vast and treacherous realm of Minecraft, a mysterious and malevolent creature known as the Wither lurks in the shadows, shrouded in an enigma that has left players and scholars alike perplexed. The tale of the Wither is one of dark whispers, unsolved mysteries, and unyielding terror. Legends speak of a forgotten time when brave adventurers stumbled upon a forsaken altar deep within the darkest corners of the Nether. A forbidden ritual was said to summon the Wither, an abomination born from the depths of hell itself. Its skeletal form, adorned with three menacing heads, exuded an eerie aura that froze the bravest souls in their tracks. The true origin of the Wither remains a haunting enigma, lost amidst the passage of time. Some speculate that it was an experiment gone awry, crafted by an ancient civilization seeking ultimate power. Others believe it to be an ancient being imprisoned for eternity and consumed by a thirst for revenge. The truth, it seems, lies buried in the annals of history, waiting to be unraveled by intrepid seekers of knowledge. One thing is certain: the Wither's insatiable appetite for destruction and chaos is a force to be reckoned with. It emerges from its slumber, wreaking havoc upon the unwary, reducing entire landscapes to desolate wastelands. Its ability to spawn Wither skeletons, dark minions who serve their malevolent master, only adds to the sense of dread that surrounds this mystical creature. Efforts to contain and control the Wither have proven futile, as it resists all attempts to subdue its formidable power. Even the most skilled warriors have fallen victim to its devastating attacks, leaving behind only remnants of their shattered armor as a grim reminder of their failure. The Wither seems to possess intelligence and cunning beyond mortal comprehension, perpetuating its status as an unsolved mystery. As the legend of the Wither continues to grow, adventurers and scholars alike are drawn to its dark allure. These seek answers to its origin, its purpose, and its weakness, hoping to unveil the secrets that lie beneath its ominous facade. Yet, the Wither remains an enigmatic force, forever haunting the deepest recesses of Trapland, an unsolved riddle that leaves players trembling in fear and curiosity. Perhaps the answers to the Wither's mysteries will never be fully unveiled, forever consigned to the realm of speculation and myth. But as long as brave souls venture forth into the perilous world of Trapland, the tale of the Wither will persist, reminding them of the dark forces that lurk in the shadows, waiting to be confronted or feared. Traveler Sherblock, author of The Wither. Next we have more Al Sherblock, this time called Nature Friends. Our Friends in Nature by Traveler Sherblock. As I ventured through the sprawling landscapes of Trapland, I encountered a myriad of gentle creatures, known as passive mobs. These creatures, untouched by malice, added a touch of tranquility to this vast world. Allow me to regale you with tales of these extraordinary beings that graced my journey. First, I encountered the gentle and humble cows grazing peacefully in lush meadows. These docile creatures provided nourishment with their milk and tender meat, while their hides proved valuable for crafting. Their lowing calls echoed through the fields, a soothing melody that reminded me of the simple joys of nature. Next, I stumbled upon a flock of fluffy sheep, their woolly coats vibrant in an array of colors. These gentle creatures carried with them a sense of warmth and comfort. With a pair of shears in hand, their wool could be harvested to craft soft beds and colorful textiles. As I observed them grazing and frolicking, I couldn't help but feel a sense of serenity. In the dense forests, I encountered a troop of furry rabbits, their nimble forms hopping through the underbrush. These elusive creatures captivated me with their adorable twitching noses and fluffy tails. Although they possessed no material offerings, their presence brought an air of innocence and playfulness to the woodland realm. And finally, as I wandered near the riverside, I encountered schools of fish gliding gracefully through the water, their shimmering scales dazzling in the sunlight, reflecting the vibrant hues of their aquatic home. While they remained elusive beneath the surface, their presence enlivened the waterways and added a sense of vitality to the world around me. In my travels, these passive mods remind mobs. In my travels, these passive mobs reminded me of the harmony that can be found within Minecraft's varied landscapes. Each creature, in its own way, offered a glimpse into the delicate balance of nature, from the gentle lowing of cows to the playful antics of rabbits. They served as a reminder of the peaceful coexistence that can be found amidst the challenges and adventures that lie ahead. Traveler Al Sherblock. That was Nature Friends. Very cute. Next we have Surveyor 42's Field Journal by Surveyor 42. So yeah, Field Journal by Surveyor 42, and it is Proudmoore Geologic Survey, Field Journal, Expeditionary Unit 4, date 14855. Weather overcast with light rain, clouds steady from the east. Sea is choppy. Living with old Greg the fisherman has been different. He's been here longer than I have, tucked away in his little shack by the sea. He barely speaks unless he's telling me about the catch or the tides. It's been weeks, and he still watches me like I don't belong here. Maybe I don't. The survey work continues as usual. The cliffs offer little more than the iron veins I've already logged. Greg says there's nothing to find. Only what the sea lets go, as he puts it. He's right, I suppose. He never looks toward Blood Moon Isle. Not once since I've been here. I asked him why, and he just muttered, "Best to leave that place alone." Tomorrow, back to the cliffs, Greg says there's a storm coming. Surveyor 42's Field Journal. And our last book here today, Traplands Rules by P. Sherblock. Traplands Rule, An Outsider's View by Traveler Sherblock. In my travels, and they have been many, I have encountered many strange people and cultures in many different provinces of the known generation. And in each, I have found a method of governing and customs of leadership unique to that particular province. In Blockistan, for example, the Sultan Edge Memerson relies upon his sandstone assassins to eliminate threats secretly without the common knowledge of the people. In this province of Trapland, the Sultan may rule directly, but the power granted to his subsidiaries in Blockmenistan cannot be understated. During a recent journey to the south side of the Great Sea, the harsh, heat-filled realm of the sand, I was able for the first time to witness the unique manner of rule of these strong, proud people. It would appear that the entire province of Trapland is separated into territories known as biomes, and each hold finds its seat of power in one of the great ancient cities that inhabits said biomes. But as mighty and influential as each individual faction has, Trapland's true power comes from the strength of King Fettuccine Alfredo of Proudmoore. The king is the colonizer of Trapland and is always involved in heavy-handed decisions with involvement of a body called the Mods. Specifically, it says covened. I'm not sure if it's supposed to say coveted, but Council of the High Power of Trapland, who meet with the express purpose of choosing Trapland's fate, or so it is in theory. The reality, however, is that the king is the highest authority in the land, even to a possible unofficial standard, due simply to the fact that they have provided and flourished Trapland more than any king or jarl has before them, and just with their own blocks and hands. The mods, therefore, is more formality and theater than anything else. So while there be kings and queens throughout the different biomes and factions of Trapland, all are seen over by the King of Proudmoore. Will there come a day when the mods convene to select a new king? If that day comes, I will be thankful to be far away from Trapland, in my own home, for such a decision could well mean civil war, and I fear that such a conflict would tear the fierce and beautiful Trapland people asunder. Traveler Sherblock. And that was it. That was what was in the bundles given to me by Cassino himself. So that was a good time. Thank you for being here. That was it. Just as I passed the hour mark, too. Incredible. That was a lot. I am no stranger to that amount of book reading in one sitting. I have done it. I think the longest I ever did was like 3 hours or something. Could be wrong. Anyways, that was a lot. Thank you, Kaya. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Skadoosh, for being here. Appreciate you all. I'm going to log off and stay safe. Have a very Trapland day. Bye.